Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? Let me know if the audio is working here. It's not exactly telling me. All right. Alex Vance, good to see you. Halloween, try and stay safe at work. Try and have a good night. We'll miss you. Hello, Bernaldus. Good to see you. Camden, hello. Good to see you. Dennis Rebican, welcome. Yeah, you gotta get the food. Food is good. TC, good to see you again. Peachy. We got a full house in here, starting right off. That is good to see. Very good to see. Now, I keep being told I forget this, but we do actually have Super Chat now. So you can click that and give a small donation to the channel, help the channel out. And it also, I think it does this anyways. That's what I've been told. It's supposed to pin your comment to the top. So if we start getting busy and I'm not seeing your comment, that's a great way to make sure I do see it. So, how has everyone been? Everybody had a great week? Getting revved up for the weekend? I know me, I'm looking to fire up the grill this weekend. Nothing too fancy this time, just going to keep it simple, some hot dogs and hamburgers. Though I am planning to hit the grocery store and see if I can either get me a good pork shoulder or a brisket. Hey, Dennis, thank you. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Well, we're mostly open. I think there's a bare minimum restrictions still here, though. My wife being Navy, Navy has its own set of restrictions, so I still have to follow those, which can be a pain in the rear. So I just keep my mask with me and, do the things and be a good neighbor, that kind of thing. Got a lot of work, Bernaldus? I have a busy week coming up. Due to the computer issues we had, I'm at least a week behind on filming the class. So the insanity that is me is planning to try and catch up on it this week and maintain and keep up with the rest of my work. We will see if I can actually pull that little stunt off. But if any of you happen to notice me face plant on the keyboard and just start spamming the Discord channel, I probably fell asleep on it. I probably did. And you know why? Feel free to point and laugh at me. I know I would. Now, that said, this alone has been a busy week. I did a lot of filming of YouTube videos that were requested. So for the viewer who requested the Dragon's Blood oil, I actually couldn't put that off. I went ahead and filmed it. It won't be going live until maybe August. But I did go ahead and film it because that was a great ideal, and I just had to go ahead and work that into the rotations. We did film the Cor Allegra video as well as a Loki video. And I filmed a video focusing on the myths of pact work, which all those will hopefully answer a lot of questions for everyone. On top of that, since I was filming the Loki video, Loki decided he's going to drop in, spend the whole week with me actually. And he's actually planning on me and him doing a month-long path working together in the near future. The details of which he hasn't fully laid out with me, but that should be a hoot for sure. Peachy, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the donation. It is great to have you all supporting the work we do here. It really is. Oh crap. Color things distracting. Oh yeah, Loki. So that path working I'm really looking forward to. And I have been getting in and talking with the Fae Queens to try and figure out how they want those path workings to work. Currently, it does look like they are wanting to do 2 separate path workings. I don't know if I can make it happen the way they're wanting, but I can at least put in the description of the class the recommendation, because they're basically wanting it to be worked. One path working would be for the summer half of the year, and the second path working would be for the winter half of the year. But the way the settings go on the school, you could just purchase the class and work it anytime you want. Which that's okay, because at least at this point, to my understanding, you could do the path working anytime. It would just be, I think they said it'd be easier if you did it during those times. Well, I'm glad I can be of help, Peachy. Hellcat, good to see you. Welcome, Trent. Familiars, you can seek them in meditation unless you're talking about a physical one, because the physical ones are the tricky ones. You just literally kind of have to find an animal that you connect with and they connect with you. You can't force that. And well, you can't force the spiritual ones either, but they are a little easier to get and seek out and explore through meditation and trance. And I'm actually wanting to do a guided meditation for locating a spiritual familiar. That is one thing I am wanting to do. It's on the video list to film. Hopefully I'll get that one done soon. And yeah, Hellcat's right. Most people, the familiar finds them. I mean, you can do the seeking, but it can work either way. Me, myself, I have some spirit animals. Some people claim they're my familiars. I don't really view them as familiars. But otherwise, other than those spirit animals, I primarily just work with the dragons. So, and as far as physical animal, well, we had cats, but they were my wives. Hello, Elizabeth from Nova Scotia. Great to have you. It is really weird to realize how many people from so many different areas follow this channel. That is just really cool for me. Peachy, you're the second person to say that. He's not been in the chat lately, but who was it? Black Tower? He said that too. Well, for me, I learned to do it through trance work and guided meditation. So the trance work I was given was kind of what I'd view as semi-hard way, because you literally just get into a good trance and you focus on your spirit animal coming to you. And that's it. and you just do this until it happens. For some people, it's quick. Some people, it could take a month. I think I did this meditation for an entire week, every evening, and it was a week when I was out in the woods. So it was just me, a campfire, and my trance work, and that was it. Um, and it still took me like a week to get an answer. Now, since then, I've learned methods through guided meditation that seem to work much more effectively for my students. And that's one reason I'm wanting to get more guided meditations onto the channel, like we did with the Guardian Dragon guided meditation. Get one up there for a spiritual familiar and animal spirit guide. Hey, Mooncat, good to see you. Uh, hey, Sophia, good to see you again. So, I've actually been doing a lot of spirit work this week. That over the last month or so has spiked. It's just spirits wandering in. They know I work with a lot of entities of the dead, so they essentially wander in to ask for assistance, help, and guidance. And most of the entities I work with, um, they kind of see to it that if that opportunity presents itself, you pick up the torch and you do the best you can to help. So I've been jumping through a lot of that this week. And I've also been attempting to prepare for the Clifothic path working this fall. So I have had a crazy busy week. I really have. TC, it could be either really. My gut's leaning more toward familiar, and I don't know why, but that's something I actually need to go back into my old journals and try and figure out exactly where the dividing line is. Somebody asked me about that, what really separates them, and that is a really hard question to remember because I don't work with familiars so much. So I need to go back and research that and get brush up on it. It's the problem when you study and research so much. Eventually, your mind's like a steel trap, and it just kind of rusts shut. Uh, New Zealand. I'm trying to think. Which pantheon would be over in New Zealand? Because I don't think I have. Um, when I think of the pantheons I've worked with, it was largely Norse and Greek. Though there are entities I've worked with that don't fit into those two pantheons. So thinking if it's a native New Zealand one, I don't know. I really don't. Was it? Yeah, I was wanting to guess Norse, but my geography is all buggered up after all these years. I won't lie, and I don't want to make presumptions. So, because as you all know, I don't know it all, and I'll happily admit when I'm wrong. So, and yeah, the dragons definitely are keeping me busy, Hellcat. There's no doubt. Not all the stuff hitting me is their fault, but they're definitely keeping me busy and jumping through hoops. Not the least of which is the classes they've got me filming for y'all. So In fact, I was looking at my filming schedule, and if I keep releasing one ruler a month, I found it kind of funny because unless I miscounted, that means we'll finish the final Draconic ruler video in December as the year closes out. I thought that was kind of cool. I really did. Which, if y'all haven't, Tempestra's artwork is actually officially over on the store. I have ordered the test print so I could show y'all what it looks like. I just haven't got it yet. They're running a little behind on printing, so as soon as I get that, as y'all know, I'm always happy to show you what the prints look like when I get them. The finished artwork looked gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Animal Man, they can. Some of them do. But it's not like they always speak in riddles. Some people have like all dragons always speak in riddles. They don't do that. Or at least they haven't for me, and most of the students I've worked with, they haven't. Now, that said, there are times where they'll answer your question in a roundabout, not because they're trying to give you a riddle, but they're trying to get you to think of the problem from a different point of view that's going to lead you to the answer quicker. But that said, there are certain dragons that their personality is quirky and they do enjoy giving you the runaround and talking in riddles. Much like us, dragons do have drastically different personalities. The 9 rulers are pretty direct in most cases. Most cases. I do know Ingus has took a wild hair before and gave me the runaround a time or two. Cora Allegra, she didn't really talk in riddles, but it was more. Looking back, she was being very direct with what she was saying, but she was talking about emotional concepts, which I was not good at the time. And there had probably been a better way to communicate it with me more direct. But at the same time, the way she answered it did help me learn more. So riddles aren't a guarantee. In fact, it seems to be more of a rarity in my experience. But if you approach them expecting them to talk in riddles the way a lot of fictional books put them, they might do it just to kind of appease your expectation for a time. Dragons actually adore children. Not like the Fae do, because the Fae, their love of children can get somewhat chaotic, and some people might even not care for the Fae around their children because there's so many myths of Fae kidnapping children. Though, to the best of my knowledge, that has not happened in centuries. But dragons, they are very protective, and so anyone who's small and the dragon might view as helpless, they get very protective of. So children fall into this category real quick and easy. Also, they love the joy in life and just energy that a child puts off when it laughs or smiles in the room. Um, so yeah, they they just have that loving, caring personality when it comes to children. And I've even seen the grumpiest of dragons just light up when it comes to a child. So I honestly cannot think of a dragon I've worked with that does not like children, which is kind of funny because I'm not big on kids. Yeah, I work with dragons. I have worked with Quetzalcoatl a few times. Not as much as I'd probably like to. That is one entity I'd like to get to know better. Um, but I have worked with Quetzalcoatl at least 10 or 12 times in the past. One time I did do a good month working with Quetzalcoatl, and I apologize if I'm butchering that name. Y'all know my pronunciation is Bupkis. So I enjoyed it, and I would actually like to go back and do more work with him. I really would. But that is the only one I'm aware of that I have. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Um, of that list of names, I do not think I've worked with any. I might actually have to branch out and say hi to them and see what they think of me. It's one reason I love learning about new entities. It's one of those things where you can look into their lore and see if they might be an entity you want to work with, reach out to them, meet them, get to know them. So now that I have a slight list here, I might actually have to reach out there. Never ending quickly. That's kind of the tricky part. Quickly. Uh, my method is simple. I don't know if you could call it quick though. Um, the method I use and the one what I teach my students is to do your research and learn who the entity is and learn about them. See if this is an entity whose mythological energy, because honestly, the real entity and the myths sometimes are off. But at least from the myths, if this is an entity you would want to work with, in theory. And from there, I would meditate on them to really get to know that energy more directly and see if it's an energy you're comfortable with. And then from that point, I would do trance work either in your astral sanctum to reach out to them or just do a deep trance where you call to them to see if they'll answer. If you're skilled at evocation, you can actually try to do that as well at that point. So this is like a I'd probably spend a week doing this process with a new entity. That said, you did say quick. So if I was in a hurry to reach out and contact an entity, which I have done, we all know Drake doesn't always follow his rules of safety. Okay, guilty. I know that. Um, I would probably, if I had a sigil for the entity, I might try evocation. Honestly, that team tends to be my go-to. But before I was really skilled at evocation, I would go straight into trance work, straight to my sanctum, and I would invite them to a large common area in my sanctum that's specifically set aside for this. And I would just meet them face to face through trance work and astral travel through my astral sanctum. Sometimes this goes great. Sometimes it went, they were upset. They didn't know me. They didn't want to be talking to me, and they wanted to get to know me more before we started having those sit downs. But I like to believe more often than not it pays off, and they're pretty chill about it. Then again, that could just be my bias. Yeah, I mean that, like Hellcat said. I mean he summed it up a little quicker than I did. I was a little more long winded. But ultimately, if you have the name, prayer, meditation, and trance work is the quickest way to do it. I just use that stepping stone process because some of the entities I reach out to, there's not a lot of info on. And I try not to get into too much trouble. I try to pick my battles when I'm going to do something stupid. So sometimes I fail in picking my battles. We know that. But, hey. Great questions tonight, everyone. Absolutely great. Oh, I was told to remind you all that you all are doing really good on the 5K by Samhain challenge. Apparently, there's still a lot of people who want to see what god awful outfit my wife will put me in for that. And I'm actually thinking you might be able to pull this off, people, because we're almost at 1,900 subs now. I mean, probably by this time next week we'll be there, if not sooner. Um, which puts that 5K really, really in your all's grasp. And I know my wife has already been plotting and planning with a few of her friends to do makeup and all kinds of other stuff if y'all win this. So she's just kind of assuming y'all winning. But I was told I needed to remind you all because apparently I was accused of not mentioning it in order to stack the cards in my favor. Not the case. It's just we've had a lot of questions, a lot of other things going on. But yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Hit the like button. I know it sounds silly, but I did find out that that like button really helps with the getting the channel out there and helps with the algorithm. So yeah, smash that like button. That really does help the channel out a lot. As do comments, even if it's to say hi. Uh, for whatever reason, the algorithm sees that, sees it's an active video, sees it's being watched. So that's one of the best things you can do to support the channel, and it's greatly appreciated. The Linda rap. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do about that. I may have to get her to record it and I post it as a video. Uh, because we are still trying to figure out the technical difficulties for the Magical Coffee Hour stream. So at this point in time, I think it's going to be a solo stream again this weekend, but there will be a stream. No worries there. Though I am going to have a topic to talk about because Magical Coffee Hour is a bit more topic focused and less rambling like these. So I'll try and make sure to have us a topic ready to go. What are we breaking? Don't break it. Don't break it. Oh, and for those people who wonder how many research journals I keep on hand, see that stack of notebooks? That's all research journals right back there. And that's not even all of them. That's just the ones I've been working on this week. Oh, no, totally smash on that. Rules. For the 5K challenge, the 5K challenge is if you all can get 500 or 5,000 subscribers by midnight on Samhain, the following stream after, I will do the stream in some form of costume that my wife gets to pick out. And I know most of y'all think she's picking drag. And now that she knows that's what y'all want, and I'm pretty sure she's agreeing with you, especially considering I know the makeup artist that she's getting to help. Lord help me. And not only will I do the stream in said outfit, but as I promised Peachy, I would get up and do a little turn here in the office on the catwalk so you can get to see the whole outfit, not just this. So, yeah. I keep them stacked. I really do. I go through a lot of research journals. And then I have to take those and condense them down to more permanent grimoires. No, we only need to hit 5K, not 5,000 more, just get to 5K. That's all we got to do. And even if it's like, let's say the 5,000th subscriber actually happens after midnight, but I wake up November 1st and we're at 5K, I told everybody I would still count it. So, yeah. All we gotta do is get to the 5K, and Lord help me. Oh, I can cue that song. I got a really good one I posted the first night I made, Peachy said I made her spit water on her computer when I mentioned turning on the catwalk. So I can drop that in Discord after this. Camden, don't worry about forgetting how numbers work. I forget all the time. I am bad with numbers. That's why I married a human calculator. Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. I appreciate it. I really do. I'm actually kind of curious what she has planned. I have attempted while Messenger, because she's still deployed, to glean some insight on what she has planned for me, and she has just basically ignored all questions. So she's more than happy to let me know she's working on it. She's more than happy to let me know who she's getting to plot and plan against me with, but she is not revealing any information on what she actually has planned for me. So, yeah, a little nervous because when she gets that conniving, she's having a lot of fun, and that usually gets out of hand quickly. Which is why my phone basically cusses me out now during the day. She actually changed my ringtone or my notification on my calendar, and I hadn't used it in 3 years for that particular calendar. And she sat and she waited until I'd start using that calendar again. And now it cusses me out every time a notification goes off. And I cannot figure out how to change it. And I asked her, and her exact words were, I'll change it when I get home. So yeah, that's been an adventure. There's a few people who's been in voice chat with me when it's gone off. Oh Lord, Hellcat. Yeah, I guess I would, wouldn't I? Hey James, welcome. 12:30 a.m. Whoo, that is early. Man, I could use some rain. I'm telling you right now. It is flipping hot. Um, I would like to, but I'm not sure exactly how YouTube would. You know what? Screw it. It's no, I can't because it's copyrighted. It's actually someone else's um, material, and it's that. But it's from. If you pop over the Team Four Star Helsing Abridged, somehow she got a clip from that is actually available as a ringtone, and it basically calls me a cheeky dick waffle. So yeah, but without having to worry about copyrights, can't do that. But I would encourage you to go over to Team Four Star, check out their content if you like pointless, funny entertainment. It can be crude, so if you don't like crude humor, you might want. But I adore it. They're my go-to when I just need to laugh. Uh, Dennis, I do work with planetary magic some. It's not one of the bigger categories I utilize. Though I am noticing a lot of the entities I work with are Saturnian spirits or entities. Most of my planetary magic goes through the dragons because you do have dragons that work within those planetary energies. Um, and there are times when through evocation work, when I'm looking for a spirit to work with, talk to, learn from, or whatnot, that it will one of those planetary spirits is actually the best to go to, in which case I do. So it really just kind of depends on the situation for me. But as far as my go-to daily or even monthly practice, I'm going to have to say not a lot. I think any given year I'd work with a planetary spirit. If 4 times would be generous, so probably 2 times on average. I hope that helps. I'm still working also on getting my wife to actually crash one of these streams one time with me, if she will. So far, she's still dead adamant that she will never be on camera with me. But, hey, we're trying. Maybe the 5K challenge will be the first time we get her on camera just so she can show off her work. And I do keep telling Linda that you all miss her. And it's my understanding that though her streaming equipment's not working as the way she'd like it, that she thinks she might have found a way that she can do a Twitch stream with just her. So do pop over there and support her. Because, yeah, we miss her. We do miss her. Magical Coffee Hour is not the same without her. And hopefully I get her back. Shoot, I don't know what I'll do if it comes a full solo. I really don't. Fourth of July spells. That's um I tend to do a lot of spell work for independence and self-sufficiency on the 4th. Um, just because I don't know, for me that's always what that holiday was, and it is kind of that celebration thereof. And without getting too political, because you all know I don't like that on the channel, but it's there's definitely a large energetic sense in the air on July 4th, at least here in the States. I know it differs everywhere, but at least here in the States. And it's a great time to harness that for independence and self sufficiency and a brighter future as you move forward. So I know that's a little generic, but that's really what my spell and ritual work around the 4th is when I do it. And I do keep it simple partially because I like to donate time to the troops and help them out on the 4th if they're doing something. And if that's not what I'm doing, I'm probably in the backyard with the grill lit, doing a nice long slow cook and listening to some music and kicking back, which that's actually my plan for tomorrow. So, I one of my neighbors actually invited me to a barbecue, though. I might pop in on that, see how that's going. And they're supposed to be doing a fireworks thing around the neighborhood here, so that'll be fun. Don't say that. We don't want the Linda to be stolen. Maybe somebody just stuck her in a box. She is tiny. We're working on getting her back. I promise. I am not going to settle for solo stream easily. I won't lie. I was actually looking at my finances to see if I could purchase her a computer. I can't. But I thought about it. That's not a bad setup, Hellcat. Just a nice little nope, go that way kind of spell. Yeah. I actually keep one of those around my house. A, One of the best ways to do that is actually just work with those energy currents and that elemental energy. So, what I like to do and what I do with my students when I'm teaching them to work with the elements, um, and I'm teaching them to work with just the energy, not like an entity attached to it. Now, if you work in dragon magic, obviously you can reach out to fire dragons like Ingus Salor, the ruler of the fire dragons, or Terrafana, the ruler of the earth dragons. Those are obviously options if you work in dragon magic. But just in general, what I like to do is just get you a candle or something and light that. And actually, take your hands and just hold it around the candle. Feel the energy on your hands and actually meditate on that energy. And when your arms get tired, the candle's still lit. Just pull your arms back and sit and feel that energy in the whole room moving around you and even start moving it through you. This will actually give you a really good sense of that element, what it feels like. And it'll also help better attune you to it and balance it out. And you can do the same thing with earth and somewhat easier. You can either get you some good, rich soil. I know some people like that. Me, I don't like risking dumping soil all over my house. So I usually go out and I find me a nice rock. And I go out in nature and I find one. And I bring that home and I will sit and hold that rock and meditate with it so that earth energy is there doing the same process that I mentioned for the fire one. So that is how I would do it and get focused on and really start attuning with those energies. That's what I have my students do every time. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate it. You too. I'll be honest, my goal tomorrow is slow smoked meat and might even allow myself a few beers. Maybe a pitcher of margaritas, we'll see. I don't want to overdo the alcohol. You can bet there'll be a lot of coffee though. Oh, I love air and water. Um, People actually ask me if I worry about hurricane season. I actually look forward to it because the high wind and rain, I just love it. There's just something about being out in those winds and that rain. I've always loved the water and the ocean, sailing, being out on a boat. So wind and water is definitely two energies I've always been drawn to. I do love earth energy. I spend a lot of time in the woods. Fire energy, I've never had any trouble connecting with me. It just kind of flows through me easily. So, but it's the one I spend the least time with because I did have certain anger issues and whatnot when I was younger, and I had to work through that. So there is so much of that just natural fire in my belly that it's one of the ones I work with the least. But at the same time, I've never lost my kinship with it. And working with dragon magic, the dragon's flame ritual, it brings all four in and balances them out at the same time. And for those of you in the class, the dragon's flame meditation, it just ramps that up to the next level. Coffee loggers are good. I enjoy those. I really do. Hey, there's just something about it. Um, One of the reasons, I mean, when I go camping, if it's raining, I'm the last one to go in the tent because I just like being out in that rain. Oh, I love lightning storms. I get out in those a lot, though I catch a lot of flack for it. And I should probably tell people not to do it because I've actually been indirectly hit by lightning 3 times. So yeah, probably not the brightest pea in the pod there, but Then I noticed I said indirectly, so it's like I was hit with the discharge. So it's not like he survived. No, I didn't survive 3 hits. It was indirect. It hit something else in the discharge. But that'll still knock the wind out of you and throw you. Yeah, they love stirring up some storms. They love to play in storms. And generally, if you work with dragons, and sometimes if you don't, you look up when a storm's coming, you're probably going to find a few dragons up there, whether they're causing the storm or just riding it for the energy because they love to play in it. Oh yeah, you got to love that supercharged energy that comes from a lightning storm. When I lived on the West Coast, oh my God, I missed it. There was like no storms, no lightning storms out there. And when we first moved back to the East Coast, that first lightning storm, all I could do was sit at the window and watch and just enjoy it. It'd been so long. I missed it. You see, Hellcat, I should be in that boat. I should because of so many different injuries and stupid things, and well, actually being hit. But I don't know. I guess I just ain't got the good sense. I don't, because I still love it. Uh, I'm not sure I understand the question, eh? Yeah, I mean, Camden, we were out there for 8 years. And I grew up where, I mean, we just had them all the time. It was just a fact of life. It never registered in my brain there's places that didn't have them. I would have figured they'd have them to some extent, but I guess that's just one of those little things that even when you study science and stuff, if you don't think to focus a question in an area, it changes the dynamic of it. And I learned something from it because, yeah, it surprised me. For all the rain that I did see while I was out there, there was never any thunder and lightning with it. It was kinda sad. But now I'm back on the East Coast, and I'm totally digging the storms that we're getting here. Oh, um, you know, it really hit and it supercharged my energetic body. I mean, I felt just if you've ever had so much energy, you can't sit still, you can't lie still, anything. That's what I felt like, only I was sore. I was too sore to move. But that's what the energy felt like, and for years, I couldn't really think of a way to put it, but as comical and silly as it sounds, if you remember I wanna say it's the first Avengers movie where Thor hits Tony Stark with the lightning bolt and his battery hits, like, 500% or something. Um, Honestly, that scene kinda reminded me of it, though Tony's reaction was definitely a bit more cool than mine because he didn't actually get hit by it. But that's really kinda how I felt. It didn't really mess my energy up in any way that I was aware. It just supercharged it. Now that said, I'm not gonna test this, but one thought I had at one point was, what if your energy is already unbalanced? Would it balance the energy as it charged, or would it just increase the imbalance? So, that is a question that popped into my head on that, but you're not gonna find me willing to test that particular theory myself. That's one of the ones that even I'm like, "Nope, I'm good. Let somebody else test that one." Take it easy, Hellcat. Have a good evening, man. I'm out of coffee. We need to refill here, people. Working Dragon Mystic, fueled by coffee. That good stuff. Yeah, as much as I'm drinking this, you figure they'd like give me a sponsorship or something. Be like, hey, since you're drinking it, we'll constantly tell them what you're drinking, and we'll support your channel. Actually, I don't have to. This is Iron Bean. It's actually one of their newer ones, the Dark Rocco. And if you like coffee, this is a darker roast, but it leans toward like a medium dark, and it is good. Good, 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 good. And I don't care giving them a shout out because, well, I buy coffee from them a lot. Them and Death Wish. They pretty much have them delivering pounds of coffee every month. And that stuff's good. Yeah, see, Bernardus, that's kind of the logic I was following there. But at the same time, it just kind of ramped me up so much and it didn't notice any fluctuations. They just raised the question. I mean, logically, I see where you're going with it, and that's where my brain went. But again, my brain, it doesn't know when to stop asking questions. It gets me in trouble a lot. Cloud gazing. That is actually a really great question, man. Or Lass, I'm not sure. The name doesn't really give me a bead, but I grew up around Hulk Hogan, so if I say man or brother, something like that, it's not gendered. It's just my generation. We're just brainwashed. But that is a great question, and you can feel the energy, but you don't have to. So, I personally, I don't like telling people take it on faith that it worked. Instead, what I would recommend is just use visualization. So if you can visualize that little laser beam from your fingers or your tool as you trace that circle on the ground, then the energy will follow that visualization. So even if you can't feel it at this time in your practice, if you can follow that visualization, you will be good to go. And that's honestly where I start my students. And over time, all but one of my students has been able to perceive the energy of their circle pretty quickly. One of them, we never did figure out what happened because she just for the longest time could not feel energy. She could see it, she could manipulate it, all kinds of things. And then one day she just woke up, did a ritual, and called me screaming because for no apparent reason at all, she just suddenly could feel energy just wide open. So it can take time. And I'll be honest, she was screaming so loud into the phone, I thought something was wrong. She scared me half to death, and I had to calm her down before I could understand her. But once I understood her, I was proud of her. Though I'd rather her not woke me up. But I'm not a big fan of taking it on faith. I know some people have said that. But I find that visualization tends to be more reliable. Though there are people that the faith thing works if you're someone who can do faith. If you're someone like me and faith just gives you the heebie-jeebies, I'm not sure that technique would work as well. So that's the reason I lean toward the visualization method. I hope that makes sense, and I hope it's helpful. Hey, I've actually been pretty lucky. I don't think, no, I've never had an entity that's like you get 3 questions. That said, I have actually been sitting there talking with an entity, asking questions, and that question lead to this question, that question lead to this question, to the point where the entity's like, okay, we're done for today. Make your notes, and we'll pick back up here next time if you remember these questions. So yeah, I have actually gotten to the point where they're like, all right, enough. But I've never had one that's like when I call to them, they're like, you got 3 questions. I got time for the others. Um, it's actually kind of embarrassing to admit that, but I've actually gotten them to the point where they're like, okay, you've asked enough questions for the day. I think that's one of the reasons I enjoy working with Odin so much. Me and him can both just get lost in ramblings and questions and talking. And that's one thing personality wise, him and I share a lot. The downside is I can lose a whole day to talking to Odin and not even realize it. So, yeah, I mean, it's happened. I have had entities be like, all right, that's it. You're not enough. You're cut off. No more questions today. So, yeah, I think you're the first one to ask me that, though. And I don't know what I'd do if that happened. I might actually just call up another entity and start talking to them. I'm Southern. By golly, when I want to talk, I want to talk. I'll find somebody to talk to. Great questions here tonight. So, yeah. So, hopefully, you all saw the video this week on jar magic and enjoyed that. I am planning to do more videos on jar magic to get more specific on specific jar spells. But for the first video, I wanted to make sure it was broad enough that if you wanted, you could get started with your jar magic right away. And to the viewer who actually asked me to talk more about my experience with entities, I took your words to heart. And the Loki video, the first Loki video that I shot will be more about my experiences with Loki as opposed to the lore. And I'm planning to go in and dive into different parts of the lore and my thoughts on those pieces of the lore later. Hey, that's a little hard because I would agree with you because if you go into magic not expecting results, you're almost going to be grounding out the energy yourself. That much I do believe. But at the same time, when I first got into magic and I really started doing my research, I understood that I had to at least put forth the mental energy and I had to suspend disbelief in order to get the energy to move. Now, at the same time, with that in mind, I also expected results. And if I hadn't got results within a reasonable framework, I would have never kept up with the path. So, yeah, I do believe that you have to know um, that it's going to work, and I guess belief is a part of that. And you have to approach it with that paradigm because if you approach it trying it to see if it works because you believe it doesn't work and you're sure it's not going to work, then it won't work. And I think for a lot of people, that's the hard part is suspending that disbelief in order to actually try magic out. Thank you, Dennis. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Uh, I actually did a video on mugwort, PG. But it is great for helping you sleep a bit. It's also great for opening up your psychic senses, arcane senses, and it's really good at improving trance work and journey work. Okay, Bernardus, that's actually a really good question. This is actually something that me and another colleague have actually played around with because you got people who's like, no, you can't reuse it. You got to toss it away. But in playing around with it, we found out that if you do have like a candle leftover stub or something, and you're working to continue that prosperity spell. So you did the initial candle prosperity spell, whatever kind you did, and then you're wanting to build a jar to continue it forward as a secondary spell to push it forward more further. We have found that utilizing that leftover actually does help because the entire spell and ideal behind that spell is still contained in it, even though the energy was released. The ideal's still there, and that does help attune that jar to your purpose. So yes, the energy's gone, but the association, the attunement, and the ideal still resides there, and it's a pretty powerful ingredient actually. Especially if you do those long-term prosperity spells like I shared on the channel. If you have the last little bit of that candle, since it's so long-term and you're creating that candle talisman as well, you then take the talisman and throw it into the jar. It just ramps it up that much more, um, which is what I like to do if I'm going to do a jar of prosperity. So I keep my long-term spell work going, and then I also refresh my jar every so often that way. Sophia, actually, I tend to find most of your consecration rituals or tend to work the same. They ultimately clear out the energy, um, which that's your ultimate goal. Now, which, as far as more effective or powerful, since you're clearing out that energy, they're all effective. The only difference I've found between them in my practice and testing is some of the consecration rituals not only clear the space out, but they also help to bring more energy in and build it up for the working. So, for example, the one I utilize for dragon magic would set it up with those draconic energies, and the dragon magic practitioner already has that foundational energy built into the area when they do the consecration ritual. Um, but it's not that it's more powerful. It consecrates, clears the area out, sets it aside for whatever it is you're working with, and starts building it up accordingly. Which is the whole point of consecration. You are kind of setting it aside for that thing. Um, I don't really use them that much in my practice anymore. The most I do for consecration anymore is the Dragon's Flame ritual because I don't really set places aside for my magic. I have my work area just because it's tucked out of the way, but I will do workings anywhere. There's days I've sat down and just done workings here on the floor in the office. But I mean, that's just me in my practice. I'm kind of a functionality, be able to do it anywhere kind of guy. Not everybody does that. But in my opinion, they all work. You just got to find the one that you like. I have had a dragon play around with one of my candles and leave an imprint. Yes. Um, though more often than not, they like to take their claws and like open little channels for the wax to spill out. um, which also causes your candle to burn down faster because they get in a hurry and they want that energy released so that the changes can get moving. Cloud, I do my best. I don't know if I'd call myself an expert, but I appreciate your thoughts on that. And you got questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Don't worry about that at all. That's why I'm here. So as far as that particular question, the process is pretty simple. So, all right, here we go. We're going to say that this obsidian orb here is an herb. All you have to do is either hold it like so and focus on your intention while pushing energy in. And I mean by that is you just focus on energy moving from you to it and you set that intention. Now, your other option is to set it down and put your hands over it and do the same thing. Again, that energetic transfer of your intention is moving to it. It really is that simple. And the more focus you put on it, the better. Uh, oh, the long-term ones that I do? Well, the one on my channel, I use a taper candle for the long-term ones. I just blow them out at the end of the working every day, and I do about 10 minutes working a day with it. And I know some people like pitch a fit when you say blow out a candle, but like in that video, I explained I don't just blow it out because they say it blows the energy away. I actually blow energy into it as I blow it out, which helps further empower it and seal it. So the spell's done, the energy's been released, that change is already happening. Plus, the candle acts as a talisman to also help pull that prosperity to me. And I keep this up until basically I get down to the end of my candle holder. I don't use 7-day candles much anymore because I had too many glass casings start shattering on me. So I got tired of cleaning up glass. It's too hazardous for my health. So I try to steer away from 7-day candles in glass containers anymore. I don't really know. When it comes to me, crystals and stones, again, it comes down to practicality and function. So I've worked with them a lot. I've done a lot of research on them. I've used them in Magic, but I only have like a handful of stones in my entire collection because I only work with a few on the regular. In fact, my favorite is obsidian, onyx, and clear quartz because I like the protective nature and the grounding abilities that comes with the obsidian and the onyx. And clear quartz, I just like how programmable it is. So anything I can make it into a Swiss Army knife for Magic, I love. That said, I have found that myself and others do tend to gravitate toward one or two stones. And you notice that when you gravitate, there's an energetic reason for it. And most of the time, it is that vibration somehow tends to match up with you in some way. Now, I have actually seen it go the other way, where it's the opposite vibration they're attracted to because it's actually an aspect in their life they need to build up. So they're attracted to a stone that's going to help build that vibration up in their life. So I hope that answers your question somewhat because I know I'm not, the stone guy. When I do any videos on stones, I have to pull my journals. I don't do enough of them where it's just in my head. I have to pull my journals and get my crowbar out and just crank that rusted lid shut in my brain or open so I can get to the information. Yeah, see, I love the tall taper candles. They're just so easy to find. They're everywhere. They're inexpensive. You can find them in almost any color. Well, you can find them in any color now, thanks to Amazon. Um, so, I mean, I love them. And in a pinch, I can always get a hold of a white one, which I can double as any color if I need to. Again, my laziness is showing when it comes to that. It's me and my magical Swiss Army knife when I'm looking for ingredients. That's how I do it. But I do like being able to, when I can, get the color I need. Though I tend to keep on hand black, red, purple, and white. That tends to be the only ones. Uh, well, when I mean long term, like the prosperity spell that I'm talking about, I would do that working every day or even every other day, where I follow the process for 10 to 15 minutes every day. I blow it out, resealing it, further charging it with energy. And I would keep this up until the candle was used up. And those candles usually would last me a good month or more. So I'm getting daily work for like a month, constantly building that up, constantly sending that energy out. That's one reason that particular prosperity spell is so effective, because you're constantly building upon it every day, increasing it as it's already starting to bring change to you. So you're getting compound gains, if you will. You will often find energy surround you when you meditate. That's pretty normal. And that's also because as you meditate, your third eye does want to open and your arcane senses do try to open. Um, and when you first start out, it can be uncomfortable as a pressure. It can. After the meditation, if you feel like grounding out, go ahead. But in my experience, usually starting with the grounding won't stop it, because you ground the energy, but then as you meditate, the energy starts coming back because that's what you're doing. You're opening that third eye and everything. So yeah, there you go. See, I don't think I've ever heard obsidian referred to as the dragon stone, which would probably explain why I have so much of it. Like, you know, this one. So I didn't know that one. Here y'all are teaching me stuff again. Cloud gazing. No, you do not. If you are doing a spell and you wish to use a circle, I don't actually use circles for all my spell work. But if you do wish to use a circle, and let's say you're doing a prosperity spell and you're using a chime candle and you light the candle, and the spell calls for the candle to burn out, you do not have to remain in the space. You just set your space up, you cast your circle, you draw the energy in, you do the whole process. And once the spell's finished and the candle's still burning, you just go ahead and close your circle and go about your day. Though, do make sure that the candle's someplace safe and not going to tip over or cause a fire. Never leave candles unattended burning. And if you have to, set them in a bathtub just in case. And I'm sorry if you all had to hear that idiot who like went revving up the road for no reason. Interesting. See, look at this. We're learning all kinds of stuff. See, I always wanted garnet or obsidian to be my birthstone. I got stuck with amethyst, which I did not like amethyst for the longest time. But I finally came around to it. I actually like it. See, that's a perfectly good way of sealing it and sending it off, and having a candle blow out that you can reuse. That's yeah, that works. And I actually do like the way that you put, "This is my will." Um, there's so many people anymore that it's like, "This is my will," but then they'll phrase it also that if the universe has a different will, let that happen instead. And it's like, if you're gonna let something else hijack your working, why are you doing the working? Um, and I know that's more of a spiritual thing, and I know me being the science and magic mage over analytical, and I know that's just a personal pet peeve, but I like the way you worded it because this is my will. Boom, done. I love it. Puke green. Oh yeah, yeah, that is a birthstone, ain't it? Yeah, I finally came around to it. I actually did. Once I got to see more of the deeper amethyst, because I don't know why, but anytime like class rings or whatnot, they always put the really light pink amethyst in there. Once I got to see the deeper royal purple amethyst, I really came around to liking it. All right. Probably get ready to wind up here unless somebody got more questions. Oh, I do want to say we got another Patreon subscriber donating to helping us keep this channel up and running. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Actually, I think they're in chat tonight. I think it's Dennis who also gave us a super chat. So thank you. Um, yeah, your all support is really helping out a lot. And I'm making sure that all those funds get allocated to the places they need to go to make sure this channel works. And I can actually say the next thing I'm looking at, I'm trying to find me a good lapel mic. So hopefully we can cut down some of the jet noise and get the audio to be a bit smoother. Are there any spells and crystals, etc., that guarantees? Mooncat, that's actually a good question, and this is probably my biggest beef with most stone magic. Um, there are stones and things that you can do to oh, what? Hey, thank you very much for the super chat. Highly appreciate it. Thank you. Um, but there are, stones will have vibrations of good health and protection about them. So having them, whether it be on a necklace or ring or even by your bed, that vibration can, in general, lead your energy in that direction. But it's not a guarantee. And I know there's a lot of people who want to use it as a guarantee. In my experience, the best way to maximize the benefits is to be proactive in maintaining the energy in your life and directing it through a regular practice of magic. And also making good life decisions. Like, you know, don't waltz into a bar if you know there's going to be a bar fight in 5 minutes. That's probably not going to be healthy for you. Also healthy diet, stuff like that. Anything you can do in your mundane life to care for your health and whatnot. Those things. Unfortunately, I've found no guarantees. I appreciate it, I really do. I try to do my best to share what I can. That's one reason I enjoy these live streams. Y'all get to ask questions that I can answer quickly that might not make it into a full video anytime soon. And well, y'all's pretty good at inspiring videos too. Once we get the school fully up and running, I might have to move to 2 videos a week. Who knows? But I won't have all the school videos done for a while because we got to get the Dragon Magic courses up. We got an evocation course we want to do, journey work, and of course a Norse Magic course we want to do. We got a lot we want to do. I won't run out of things to keep me busy for a while. Dennis, it's really one of those things where it depends on the method that I want to use that day. Um, I do enjoy talking with them through astral projection, where I go to my astral sanctum and we can sit there and have a chat and talk. Um, that's really where I started with my practice, and I still do it. It's just easy, it's fun, it's great. That said, I also highly enjoy evocation work, where I actually evoke the entity fully and work with them directly in my workspace or ritual room that way. It just depends on what I feel would be the better way to go at that time. But yeah, generally speaking, meeting with them in an astral sanctum seems to be the easiest way for most people to get started. Because evocation takes practice and it takes a while to learn. And even once you learn it, it can be hard to maintain that state for long periods. So if you got long-term conversations, the astral sanctum really comes in handy. It's great to have you in here, Elizabeth. Have a wonderful day or evening. And yeah, definitely see you next week, if not Sunday, because we will be streaming Sunday at 8 p.m. as well. Drake for president? Oh, Lord. Oh, I might be good at that job. I might actually be good at that. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wind it up a bit because we're already starting a presidential campaign for me here. That's pretty fun. Yeah, that's what, when you hear me refer to an astral sanctum, that's actually a pocket dimension or little plane that you create for yourself. Um, that's exactly what it is. And if you go over to the playlist, should be in, just search the whole video list because I'm trying to think what playlist it'd be in and I can't remember. But just type in astral sanctum, and a video will come up that I did that walks you through how to set one up. And it's also one of the easiest ways to get started with astral travel to boot. And yeah, you literally build it up from the ground up. You have total creative control over it. You can change the environment, everything. It's one of my favorite tools for magic. It really is. All righty. So let's see here. What is not happening? Whoa. My internet is like all over the place today. This is crazy. All right. Let's see. We've got. Oh, yes. Next week, for those who's been waiting for it, the video detailing Ingus Salor, the ruler of the Dragons of Fire, that will be coming out this next Tuesday. So stay tuned for that one. Take it easy, Moon. Which that one was a lot of fun to do. And I do not have the topic for Sunday just yet. I got a few ideas I'm kicking around. But if I don't settle on a single topic, there will still be a stream. You can count on that. We'll be there answering questions, talking, having a good time. So if you're free, join us on Sunday so you can drink some coffee and have some fun. And again, when it comes to Linda, I do not know when she will return. That's still in the air somewhat. I'm hoping to be able to get in contact with her tonight and get a ballpark idea. So hopefully I'll have a little more information for y'all next week on that. Seems like there's something else I want to tell y'all. No, can't think of it. See, I done went and forgot whatever it was. It just trained over there. It's gone now. Cloud, it'd be great to see you. It's always good to find someone who's enjoying the channel and taking part in the conversation. So it's great to have you here, man. Appreciate it. Everyone, you all have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful holiday weekend if you're here in the States and celebrating. Try to stay safe. Don't do something stupid. I know it can be hard, but try and keep the holiday fun and safe, okay? All right. Yeah. Happy fireworks. I'm really looking forward to those. So, y'all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you Sunday. Take it easy. All right.